African startups nowadays would rather raise debts or borrow money than to collect money from VCs. Let me explain why. You see, in 2024, African startups raised $3.2 billion. 31% of that money, which is approximately $1 billion, were actually borrowed. I mean, when I say borrowed, I mean debts. And when I say debts, I mean venture debts, commercial papers, revenue-based financing, etc., etc. Now, if you are building a startup in Africa, I am going to tell you the requirements to borrowing money for your startup and using that as capital before the end of this video. But first off, there are reasons why startups are choosing debts over VC funding. Number one, debt allows the founders to retain ownership without giving up their equity. Now, for instance, Move has raised over $460 million over a period of 4 years, 4 to 5 years actually. And $210 billion of that money, which is basically just half of it, was borrowed. Now, this allowed them to scale into 12 countries without diluting their equity like crazy. Now, the second reason is that in 2024, there was not enough VC money to go around. So equity funding went from 57% in 2023 to 28% in 2024. And that's a massive dip. So startups had to find a way to survive, and debts were the next best thing. They had to borrow money in order to survive. Now, if you are a startup looking to raise capital from debts, you have a massive advantage if you have these three things. All you need is just really two, guys. But number one is that you already have cash flow. If you have cash flow, you can go for something called RBF, which is basically just revenue-based financing. Now, even if your cash flow is unpredictable, you can still get a loan. Now, the second one is that if you have a physical asset that you can use as collateral, then you can get something called asset-backed loans. Now, these are commonly used by startups in logistics and solar like Sun King and Move and GoCada, things like that. Basically, if you have physical assets that you can use as collateral, then you can get asset-backed loans. Now, number three, if you have good unit economics, you can get a loan. Now, what do I mean by good unit economics? For instance, does more customers equal more growth, or does it equal less money in the bank, or I like to call it more burn? Now, if it equals more growth, then it shows that you are scaling efficiently. And even if you're not profitable yet, lenders will give you money. But if more growth equals less money in the bank or more burn, then unfortunately you may not be able to get a loan. Now, if you really want to improve your odds of getting debt for your capital or borrowing money and using that as your capital, then you need to have at least two of these things I just mentioned. Either you have physical assets that you can use as collateral and you have good unit economics, or you have good unit economics and you have some revenue already. That's good. You have some cash flow. All you need is just two of these things. If you have two of these things, then you can reach out to lenders to borrow you money. But I will always hammer on the fact that you need cash flow. Yeah, cash flow is very, very important to lenders. If you have cash flow, lenders will likely borrow you money and you can use that as capital for your startup.